Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, distinguished guests, and folks of all stripes, put your hands together for the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. Houston, we have Paul Salazar Jr.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast, your Houston sports podcast for diehard Houston sports fans. From a diehard Houston sports fan, I am Paul Salazar Jr., your favorite diehard Houston Astros fan podcaster and all-around H-Town representer. I am a podcaster, actor, movie nerd, self-appointed cookie philosopher, creative multi-hyphenate, and of course, Houston native, and I have the receipts to prove it. I have stood in line for El Bolillo. That is right. I'll do it again. I will do it again, folks. I spent the last decade or so as a comedy writer here in Los Angeles, and now I am podcasting. That's what happens when you hit 10 years out here. Gavin Newsom personally comes to your house and asks you if you think he's handsome, and then if you answer correctly, he gives you a podcast. Welcome to said podcast. This is what my brother calls the Paul Broadpod Ball Blog. Hey, brother, check out spacecadetsports.substack.com for the full blog experience, or the full blog experience, depending on how you expect me to pronounce that. I started Space Cadet Sports as a passion project because most media is infuriating as a diehard long-term fan of the Houston Astros and all your Houston sports teams. So here we try to not be doom and gloom Houston fans, or worse, the national media haters. We try to love our teams and root for them, but also discuss the ins and outs of our teams without too much homerism. The keyword isn't too, the keyword is try. We try to be reasonable and not too hot takey or reactionary. And now that we are in full swing of football season, we are on the podcast to talk about your Houston Texans. We are recording this transmission here from smoky Los Angeles. Having to mix that up from sunny, having to turn off my notifications here. I have notifications coming in to check on me. I appreciate that, folks. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host and co-producer, the Roz to my Frasier. Carla, the dog, is here with me today. She may get on mic from time to time. Regular listeners of the podcast know that. She has the hot takes on this podcast. We are checking in with our audience, making sure everybody's doing okay, letting you know we're doing okay. We are dealing with a lot of smoke here. We are fortunate enough to not have to evacuate here in my neck of the woods. It did get a little close to that, but that wasn't needed. I'm here taking care of Carla and my partner Sarah. I was in Houston recently to be with my family for the funeral of my grandfather, and came back in LA. I flew back to make sure I'm taking care of things here. I'm happy to say that we are doing well. We are safe. That I cannot say that for everybody else in Los Angeles. There have been plenty of people that have had to evacuate, have to just pick up everything and go. There are people that are out there still fighting the fires. There are people that have lost their lives. So there are big things happening here in my neck of the woods. But we are also happy to put that aside for a little bit and talk about some football. I just want to let you know that we are safe. If you need to get in touch with some resources, if you're in Los Angeles and you need some help, you need some resources, please reach out to me directly at Paul Salazar Jr. on social media. Or you could reach out to the podcast at Sunday Morning, pre-recorded on Instagram and Threads. Wherever you're listening to this on, if you do need help, don't hesitate to reach out. Let me know what you need. If I don't have it or have the resources to give it to you myself, I will line you up with the resources you need. So just let us know about that. But we will get to talk about some Houston football here. I just wanted to real quickly mention that, get that off at the top. I know people are concerned. I know there are people that need help, so we are there for them. But we are also here to talk sports, and I'm very happy for it. I really needed some football. I needed some distraction in my world and in my life. Right now, I think, if you're listening closely, I feel like my voice is a little bit smoky or a little bit deeper and more resonant. than normal here. We are dealing with lots of things over here, so it's nice to be able to forget about that for a little bit and talk about some football. The Texans, why bury the lead? Why dance around it any further? We are getting on the podcast to talk to you about this Houston Texans win. The Houston Texans beat the LA Chargers here today in the wild card round, 32-12. It was a big game for your Houston Texans. They had 429 total yards of offense, 261 passing yards with 168 rushing yards, getting 20 first downs, forcing 4 turnovers from the Chargers, but getting 3 turnovers themselves, and dominating the time of possession, just walking away with the big stats here that you're looking at to win the game. It ended with Joe Mixon being in the slime zone. For those of you who are watching on Nickelodeon, like myself, children at heart, I fluctuated back and forth. Let's be honest here. I started off with the regular broadcast. Times are intense. I like a little silliness. I'm a silly man myself. I like to be irreverent. I wanted to see what SpongeBob was up to. My buddies SpongeBob and Patrick, fellow Texan Sandy Cheeks, and of course, my brother in spirit, a cynic at heart, Squidward. Shout out to the SpongeBob crew. I don't know what this has turned into. Shout out to the SpongeBob crew, I guess is what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with being a little young at heart. If you're watching that, if you're watching it over there, there's nothing wrong with that. I am in good spirits. This was a good game for your Houston Texans. Obviously, the Chargers having a tough game offensively against these Houston Texans. Before the game started, I was talking to Sarah. I was breaking down the game with her, and for her, she was asking me questions, about the favorites and why everybody were picking the Chargers over the Texans. There was a lot of disrespect for you Houston Texans before the game, just nationally. And, of course, because of everything that's happening in Los Angeles, there's been a lot of human interest stories, a lot of goodwill for the Chargers. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Truly, it's a tough time here in Los Angeles. So, you want to say that, you want to report on that, So the Chargers had a lot of media coverage going into this game. I was hopeful that the Texans defense would get this team in the game, would win this playoff game for the team, and that's what they did. Truly, I'm optimistic about this offense in the future. But this offense is not looking the most playoff ready right now. Constantly seeing the Texans in 2nd and long and 3rd and long, that is not a recipe for success. This is a very strong and stingy defensive team, this LA Chargers. So I'm not trying to say that this team can't score any touchdowns or anything or make some noise in the playoffs. I'm just saying that this team has a lot more to prove offensively, and you need to get this offense in better positions in 2nd down and 3rd down. It's been the thing that we've been saying all season long, and it still seems to be a reoccurring theme. We're looking towards the future, wondering if there's a change in offensive coordinator in the upcoming future for your Houston Texans, because it seems like it's more of the same, and it looks like the defense is winning games, the swarm mentality is winning games, but perhaps truly perhaps this team needs some sparks offensively, and this just isn't it right now. Kind of looking at the offensive game here, C.J. Stroud had a pretty good game, going 22 for 33, getting 282 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Joe Mixon was big in this game with 25 carries off of 106 yards with 1 touchdown. C.J. Stroud had some big runs on the ground, picking up some first downs, coming close to picking up a first down as well, getting 42 yards on the ground, just really trying to figure out any way to get some yards. Nico Collins was big, getting 7 receptions with 122 yards and a touchdown. Xavier Hutchinson got 1 reception for 34 yards, being the secondary leading receiver there in terms of yard. Kate Stover got 4 receptions, and John Mechie III got 4 receptions if you're looking from the reception point of view. But overall, they really spread the ball around here, finding a lot of different receivers to be mixed in to the offense here. On the defensive end, there was some sacks. We had Will Anderson Jr. getting 1.5 sacks, with Mario Edwards getting 1.5 sacks. Autry got a sack for whatever reason in this moment. Maybe it's the smoke brain. I'm struggling right now. Autry picked up a sack. I'm really struggling. It's okay. We got 2 interceptions from Derek Stingley Jr., an interception from the safety Murray, interception from Lassiter. Some big plays all around from this team. You like to see it. You like to see their defense go out there and really punch them in the mouth, really make the offensive charge for the Chargers really weakened here. Of course, pun intended. I always intend my puns. I don't. Anybody who says no pun intended is a coward. Intend all of your puns. I really think this team showed the fighting spirit. Really went out there hungry for a win. I think the Chargers are a really good team. No disrespect there. You got to give it up to the LA Chargers for having a good season, for really playing some football in some very tough circumstances. Definitely be, being from LA, there's not a lot of Charger fans in LA, but there are Chargers fans in LA, so you want to be respectful to the people that might be going through a lot of things. All I say is remember in 2017, remember in those tough hurricane years, and the Harvey year specifically, I remember, just really rooting on the Astros, rooting on your team to help process some of the things that are going on in your life. So don't make this about tacky things. Don't say silly things out there when you're talking your trash on social media. Give the respect to the Chargers and their fans. But your Houston Texans just really went out there to prove a point, and they did it, 32-12. Just getting disrespected in the national media or avoided in the national media, and just coming out with enough to win the game. Enough of a game plan to win the game. Kaimi Fairbairn had a good game, going 3 for 3 with his field goals and 3 for 3 with his extra points. Just overall, this team came out and played an all-around game to win. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. We want to see some better offense. We want to see some better game planning. This team will play the Kansas City Chiefs going forward. While the defense might not be as stingy, we're going to have to. Holding them to 12 points is not going to happen. This team is going to have to be able to score some points. Is going to have to be able to hold on to the ball and to do better, to convert on third down, and to just get better, make the most out of their opportunities, which is what they did in this game. But the opportunities are going to be harder and are going to be less against the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, at least. But it was good to see. You'd like to see that this team still has a lot of fight in them, isn't just rolling over or letting some of the national narratives get to them a little too much, that they, I think it was Rex Ryan that said the Chargers had the week off. So I'm very interested to see what he's going to say about this game. But we are excited about our Houston Texans. We're very excited to see what they're going to do next week. I really think that this team, the cornerstone to it and a long playoff run would be their defense. If they are going to beat this Chiefs team, it will be once again on the back of their defense. I think you kind of have to look at it as what it is going forward. We're kind of going to have to game manage this offense a little bit more going forward and rely on the defense. And a team can do this. I've seen Trent Dilfer, Ravens team, truly game manage their way to a Super Bowl. I'm not trying to be mean to CJ or his abilities or the offensive talent around him, but I think it's more saying any stuff about the offensive coordinator and the play calling. If this is what we're sticking with, this is kind of, we're just going to have to hope for some game planning type offense, some play action, just really being smart about picking up some yardage and not getting into third and long. The key is going to be not being at third and long against the Chiefs. I think we're going to need to be able to score every time we can reasonably score against the Chiefs, because our defense will have a huge task ahead of them to bully a playoff team like the Chiefs the way that they bullied this Chargers team. They're going to have to do good with takeaways. Once again, we're going to have to get some pressure on the quarterback, just like they did against the Chargers, creating that pressure in the backfield, and then also sticking with those receivers and sticking with coverage just long enough to break up those plays and make sure that the quarterback has nowhere to go. Mahomes goes through those possessions very quickly. We're going to have to, stay very tight in that coverage. We're going to have all cylinders firing on defense in order to beat the Chiefs. But if this Charger game is any indication, now that the Texans are feeling healthy, now that they're firing on all cylinders, this defense is a force to be reckoned with. And not just that, we get to talk about special teams. Special teams coach was out there fired up, being meme-worthy, giving meme-worthy reactions on the sidelines. Our special teams unit had a block punt, had a block kick, had a returned kick for extra points. This special teams is special. This team is going out there and fighting. We are going to need that mentality and that kind of that juice to beat the Chiefs. We're going to need the defense to be firing on all cylinders. We're going to need special teams to come up with some big plays and execute every time they are being asked to execute, whether that's cooking, whether that's kicking, cooking, or blocking. Whatever I ask them to do, obviously, I'm getting hungry. I want the special teams to cook me some meals. I wonder what they would cook. I'm sure it would be really good. But we're going to need that from the special teams, and we're just going to need some great play from the offense. I'm not going to expect excellence, but I'm going to expect game planning from the offense. And if they can do that, they can compete with the Chiefs. Can they win? We'll have to see. But if nothing else, they can compete. And that's going to do it for this transmission, Space Cadets. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I very much appreciate it. Please like, rate, review, smash those buttons, subscribe, share, bop it, kick it, skip it, all of those buttons. Hit those buttons for me wherever you are listening to this podcast on. We are a small podcast, and we only go as far as our listenership takes us, and as well as I enunciate. So please share this with another Houston sports fan, another H-Town hustler. Let them know we're out here. Let them know about our Substack. That's spacecadetsports.substack.com, where you can put your email into that field and you can get every article, every podcast, every meme dump emailed to you directly for free. Or you can download the Substack app, search Space Cadet Sports down and subscribe to it there. Click that you want notifications instead of emails, and you get notifications on your phone or iPad or tablet the way that I do it, the way the kids do it. Don't be chuggy. But you could do that. I don't know. I'm sorry for being so chuggy. Cringe, folks. Cringe. So yeah, just download the app. You could also reach out to us and let me know how chuggy I'm being by calling in and leaving me a voicemail at SpeakPipe. That's www.speakpipe.com/SpaceCadetSports. If it isn't too cringy, we could even add that to the podcast. Definitely with everything that's going on, please just be careful. There is a lot of misinformation out there. I'm getting a lot of people who really care about me checking in with me in the fires, and some of the news is a little bit older. Some of it is maybe it was accurate, but it isn't as up to date. There is a lot of politicizing going on. So just be very compassionate towards the things that are happening. Just know that sports is no reason to bring very personal things into your trash talk, folks. I will say, as someone who was there for hurricanes in Houston, I know what it's like when, what it's like when people are politicizing things that you're going through, or just kind of being trashy people about things that are happening. So just try to refrain from just ridiculous ridiculous things out there that are dividing us. Try to be kind. If you want to be kind and want to donate, please reach out. I definitely have a list of charities that are looking for donations in Los Angeles. I could direct you to make a donation to something that you know will make a difference. If you need help, please reach out to me as well. I would love to get you in contact with people that can help you. There are definitely bigger things in sports, so I'd like to help out wherever I can. Once again, thanks for listening, folks. We appreciate every one of our listeners. Remember to be the best that you can be. Keep your head up, kid. And as always, vamos Houston.